But Kash Patel called out one of the ringleaders of the Russia collusion hoax, then Congressman, now Senator Adam Schiff.
I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of inmates.
Not in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
So this might have been one of my favorite exchanges from today. I write a lot about Adam Schiff in my book, Lawless Lawfare, available on Amazon, about the
Barnes and Nobles as well.
About the Russia collusion hoax. And it's just interesting that he's finally being called out for some of that narrative. When I did some interviews about the book, I spoke to Laura Trump, and she said, actually, Adam Schiff is one of the people she wishes had to answer questions about this. Do you think, Elizabeth, was Kash Patel right to call Adam Schiff a political buffoon, or was that kind of something that we don't usually see the FBI director, the terminology being used on Capitol Hill?
We also, something that we don't see is that the person being interviewed, the witness, is the one who's really putting the senator to shame. I think so often in these types of hearings, both the House and the Senate, it ends up being more of an opportunity for the senator or the representative to kind of own the guest. And the tables were really turned here, in which Kash Patel really called out Adam Schiff for his, what he said, political buffoonery that we've seen for years and years, going back to 2020 and before that.
He did, and he also defended his history working for the government, as well as Dan Bongino, who I think someone asked if they were going to go back to podcasting. Jason, I'm guessing you would probably like to see them go back to podcasting.
I'd like to see them disappear altogether. So, I actually like Dan Bongino on a personal level. I think he's a nice guy. I just don't know that they're good at their jobs. And particularly, I don't think he did himself any favors. I think he took all the honor away from the FBI Director's office. He looks like a buffoon himself by screaming that way. Defend yourself and defend your organization, but casting those kinds of aspersions just makes it look bad. Now, I would also ask you, Alex, if you remember Esther Salas.
Yes, I do.
So you remember how, talking about lower court security.
Exactly.
Her son was shot and killed, and her husband was shot by some right-wing lunatic. And, of course, that doesn't make it when people start talking about Steve Scalise and all that. But there's real concerns about the security that is for these lower courts.
One of the numbers that Patel's talked about was, I think they have 35 open investigations right now into threats against judges, and 17 of those are federal judges. So yes, it's a serious problem, and I'm sure the judges are appointed by both Republican and Democrats.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.